This incredible footage was captured in Colorado. The driver filming noticed a massive semi-truck flying down the steep mountain pass at a terrifying speed. The truck had completely lost its brakes on the long, steep descent. Realizing the immediate danger, the truck driver did exactly what they were trained to do and steered the massive rig directly onto a runaway truck ramp. Because the truck was traveling at such a high speed, it shot incredibly far up the steep hill, almost reaching the very top and kicking up a massive cloud of debris before finally coming to a safe stop. Fortunately, the driver walked away unharmed. So, what exactly causes a massive vehicle to lose control like this, and how do these ramps save lives? Driving a fully loaded semi-truck down a steep mountain grade generates an immense amount of kinetic energy. If a driver relies too heavily on the foot brakes, instead of shifting into a lower gear and using engine braking, often called a Jake brake, the friction causes the brake pads to reach extreme temperatures. When the brakes overheat, they experience a dangerous phenomenon called brake fade, where the mechanical parts literally lose their stopping power entirely, leaving the driver completely helpless. That is where runaway truck ramps come in. These lanes are engineered with a steep upward incline and filled with deep, uncompacted gravel or sand. As a runaway vehicle enters the ramp, the deep gravel creates massive rolling resistance, absorbing the truck's forward momentum and safely burying the wheels to force a stop. This next case is a stark reminder of what can happen when a vehicle stops on a highway. A car had broken down on the express road in Poland, right near an intersection. The driver turned on his hazard lights, but failed to place a warning triangle behind the vehicle. Seconds later, a massive semi-truck approaches at full highway speed. The truck driver doesn't seem to notice the stopped car until the very last second, swerving violently to the left and missing the car by just a few centimeters. Luckily, the adjacent lane was completely empty, allowing the truck to avoid a catastrophic collision. Nobody was injured, but it was incredibly close. So, what exactly went wrong here, and how could this dangerous situation have been avoided? This close call highlights two major mistakes on the road. First, the truck driver was almost certainly distracted, potentially by a phone or a dashboard screen. On a straight highway with clear visibility, a stopped car with hazard lights on is visible from a great distance. At highway speeds, a few seconds of looking down means traveling the length of a football field completely blind, leaving zero time to react. The second mistake was made by the driver of the broken-down car. The car was parked too far out into the active lane, instead of being pulled tightly against the guardrail. More importantly, failing to set up a warning triangle removed the earliest line of defense. This next footage captures the very first accident on the newly inaugurated Yarumo Blanco Bridge, a major engineering project built to cross Colombia's Central Mountain Range. In the video, a massive tractor-trailer is seen flying down the bridge at an extreme speed. The driver violently navigates a sharp curve, narrowly swerving past another truck, before ultimately crashing. The impact left the driver injured and heavily damaged the new infrastructure. So, what exactly went wrong here? And was this a case of reckless driving or a mechanical failure? While it is easy to assume the driver was simply speeding on a brand new road, a closer look at the vehicle's movement suggests a different story. The truck was almost certainly suffering from total brake failure, a common and terrifying hazard on steep mountain descent. By the time the driver reached the bridge, they had no way to slow down the massive vehicle. Despite the high-speed crash, the driver's split-second maneuvers actually avoided a much worse catastrophe. By managing to steer the runaway truck around the sharp curve and swerving to miss an oncoming vehicle, the driver likely saved multiple lives at the last moment. To prevent these disasters on steep mountain passes, drivers must shift into low gears early on, allowing engine braking to control the speed so the mechanical brakes stay cool and functional for when they are truly needed. This satisfying dashcam footage from California's Central Valley captures a textbook case of instant highway karma. The video is filmed from the perspective of a semi-truck traveling down a two-lane stretch of the highway. Another truck, hauling double trailers, likely full of heavy agricultural cargo like almonds or tomatoes, pulls into the left lane to overtake the filming truck. However, the overtaking driver misjudges their own massive length. Instead of waiting until they have fully cleared the filming vehicle, the driver abruptly cuts back into the right lane, nearly sandwiching the camera truck and forcing them to react to avoid a massive collision. What the reckless driver didn't realize is that a California Highway Patrol officer was cruising right behind the entire incident. The moment the double-trailer truck cuts off the camera vehicle, the police cruiser activates its lights and pulls the offender over on the spot. So, what exactly went wrong here, and how do professional drivers handle passing safely? Operating a commercial vehicle with double trailers requires an immense amount of spatial awareness. The driver in the left lane clearly suffered from bumper blindness. failing to track where the rear end of their second trailer was relative to the truck they were passing. In the trucking community, a dangerous move like this is highly criticized. Professional highway etiquette dictates that when one semi-truck passes another, the driver being overtaken will flash their headlights or high beams once the passing truck has cleared their front bumper. This terrifying traffic security footage from Croatia's A4 highway captures a heart-stopping moment that could have easily ended in a major disaster. A semi-truck with Romanian license plates managed to enter the highway going completely the wrong way. The blood-curdling video shows the massive rig accelerating straight into the active highway lanes before the driver suddenly realizes the catastrophic mistake and slams on the brakes, stopping dead in the right lane. As oncoming cars and other semis rush toward him, traffic miraculously grinds to a halt just in time, avoiding a head-on collision. What followed was a highly dangerous, grueling 3-minute maneuver where the trucker systematically backs up and turns the entire jackknifed semi-truck around across all highway lanes before speeding off in the correct direction. The driver fled the scene, triggering a massive multi-district police manhunt. So, how does a professional truck driver end up going the wrong way on a modern highway, and how dangerous is this issue? While highway entrances are heavily marked with clear horizontal and vertical signs, including massive wrong-way indicators, wrong-way driving remains one of the most fatal traffic violations on high-speed roads. According to transit authorities, these incidents are rarely caused by poor road design. Instead, the primary culprits are extreme driver fatigue, severe distraction from mobile devices, driving under the influence, or sheer panic and confusion during navigation changes. This narrow escape is a textbook example of why situational awareness is critical. If you ever realize you have entered a highway in the wrong direction, the protocol is clear. Do not attempt a dangerous multi-lane U-turn. Pull over immediately onto the emergency shoulder, turn on your hazard lights, get behind the safety guardrail, and call emergency services to secure the road before a catastrophe occurs. This terrifying footage comes directly from Slovenia's highway network, capturing the exact moment a routine drive turned into absolute chaos. A semi-truck had pulled over onto the emergency lane with its hazard lights on, waiting for assistance. Seconds later, another massive tractor-trailer approaches from behind. The moving truck's driver completely fails to notice the stationary rig on the shoulder, drifting slightly to the right at full highway speed. The moving truck violently sideswipes the stopped trailer. The impact is catastrophic, literally shredding the side of the trailer and instantly showering the active highway lanes with its entire cargo. Miraculously, both drivers survived, but the highway was blocked for hours. So, what exactly caused this violent collision on an emergency shoulder? This crash highlights a dangerous phenomenon known as highway hypnosis and extreme driver distraction. When driving long, monotonous stretches on a straight highway, a driver's focus can drop significantly. In this case, a few seconds of looking down at a phone, a navigation screen, or a logistics terminal meant the driver drifted just a few inches into the emergency lane, which is all it takes to cause a disaster. This disaster is a textbook reminder of why the emergency lane on any highway is one of the most dangerous places to be. If your vehicle ever forces you to stop on a highway, you must turn on your hazard lights, put on your high-visibility vest, immediately place a warning triangle far behind your vehicle to give oncoming traffic an early visual cue, and stand safely behind the guardrail.